Let's regard nature to consist of physics-related and biology or life-related notions. Let's designate nature's physics-related aspects like electricity, gravity, time, and space as nature. That's what, for example, causes the rivers to flow and the stars to twinkle at night. Likewise, let's designate nature's life-related aspects like growth, hunger, and instinct as nurture. It's what, for example, makes a larva develop into a pupa and then into a butterfly. Note that the laws of nature can operate independently of the laws of nurture, but not vice versa. For a larva to turn into a pupa and then into a butterfly, laws of nature alone are not enough. Laws of nature must also be functioning in the background. I maintain that laws of nature came into existence simultaneously with our time-space universe at time zero. It is fairly intuitive to imagine laws of nature also coming into existence at that time. But for us to claim the same about the laws of nature would imply that life as we know it on Earth also started at time zero, which is unlikely in view of the extreme physical conditions presumed at that time. If we assume that time zero occurred 14 billion years ago, we can say that laws of nature were introduced 10 billion years later to coincide with the time life is thought to have begun on Earth. While the laws of nature aspect of the laws of nature came into existence at time zero, and the laws of nature aspect was likely introduced billions of years later, God was already in the LTS before time zero. While we can reasonably infer that nature is indifferent to all, we cannot necessarily claim the same about God. As a subscriber to the objective definition of God, I consider God to be outside our ability to comprehend, and as such, in a totally different realm. In theory at least, we can assert that God has the power to change the laws of nature, but having the ability to change something is not the same as actually changing it or having the inclination to do so if persuaded. I find it hard to believe that God selectively influences laws of nature and interferes with events in our time-space world. After all, changing the laws of nature would be equivalent to instigating miracles. But in my view, since I have yet to personally witness anything I would consider to be a miracle, miracles don't happen in practice. For example, a miracle associated with changing the laws of nature would include walking on the water or parting an ocean with the wave of a hand. Likewise, a miracle associated with changing the laws of nature would include lions mating with zebras or sharks riding on camels in the desert. Thanks for your time.